Biafran War took place in Nigeria, 1967 through 1970. Yes, of course, I knew someone that was involved in the war, even though I was a little girl at the time. Yes, my uncle, my father's younger brother, was actively involved in the war. He did not die. He was involved. He went to war and he returned. He was injured during the war, and until this day, he still do have the limp from the injury he sustained during the war. And the impact of that in my family generally was a painful experience. It was a great pain, especially to my grandmother, who was still alive at the time, and my father being the oldest son in the family. He took the blunt of taking care of my uncle when he returned from the war. Yeah, it was a difficult time for my family. The impact of war is just something that many times you have to really be there to feel the exact emotion that is involved in the war. And lessons learned from war can be positive and negative also. The pain of war comes with death. That's the main disadvantage of war. When people go to war, they die, and some individuals that are not actively involved in the war, family members, where the bomb were discharged, people die, villages, a lot of people will die during the war. That is one negative outcome of war. Another negative impact is hunger, because economically, the nation, the entire environment is impacted. There will be no food, water, and security is breached. People are hurt. Women, children are hurt. Um, Politically, there's no leadership. The leadership is also flawed during the war in Biafra at the time. But some of the advantages during the war includes lessons learned. During the war, um, especially the Biafran War, we the Igbo people, what I understood took place was the elders, the people that were fighting the war that were matured at the time, they took advantage of what they have. Um, the unavailability of technology, the unavailability of so many things they needed, they improvised during the war. And so the advantage is war teaching people to really make use of skills that they never knew that they have. Our people, the Igbo people during the war, were able to really engage in STEM, what we call science, technology, engineering, and mathematics right now. At that time, although it was not readily available, they were able to manufacture their own local bombs. They call it Obunigwe at that time. And so they took advantage of war to build skills that they never knew that they have. And it put people together. A lot of people were sheltered in communities that were not their own. A lot of people left their own village and went to other villages where there were less bombing, and they were accommodated in those villages. So there was a lot of unity during the war among the Igbo people. They took care of each other in order for them to survive that hardship of war. I grew up in the late 70s and early 80s. I was, a young girl at that period. The society at that time is different culturally than what we have currently. There's a lot of westernization in the society in Nigeria at this time. When I was growing up, there were different values within the community where some things were allowed, some things were not allowed. We were able to go to school. During the time when I was growing up, we did have free education in Nigeria at the time. We went to primary school, we went to secondary school. Even paying tuition or doing some things that has to do with school was not too much of a burden for parents. And children attended school. And treatment within the hospital, health care, we did have health care, but not the way we have it in the United States, or it's even better at that time than what is obtainable in Nigeria today, even with all of the education and all of the things going on, with improvement in availability of money now than at the time when we were growing up. There were more organization in the country, both economic wise, political wise, and culturally and family values. It's so different. And now I think with a lot of westernization and availability of television and some of the things that are being shown and being imported into the country, it did affect the way the society at large is right now in Nigeria. I have 5 children, and one thing that I did in addition to having conversations, both myself and my husband and my children, one thing that I did was send my children home to Nigeria. Each of my 4 older children, when they completed 6th grade, I sent them home to Nigeria to attend education, not for any other reason, but for them to experience the culture, the lifestyles where I come from, so they will understand when I speak to them, what I told them about the experiences of war and how things happened in Nigeria and us coming to United States and residing here. So I did speak to them. I spoke to them about war, what happened, the Biafran War, the experiences of hardship, the experiences of the Igbo people of Nigeria, that the Biafrans, what we lost. Economically, we lost. In leadership, we lost. We lost everything completely, and we have to start all over to achieve and grow all the things that we have now, including the importation of this westernization that we are talking about, westernizing. Our people, the younger generations, look up to it and think that is the way life should be. And that's what I meant when I say the importation of some of the lifestyles and cultures, the westernization that impact our culture. I did speak to my children about all of that. When we talk about raising children, for us that are Nigerians, Igbo people, Biafrans, that we are called Igbo people that came to United States and we're living here, we are living 2 cultures. We live the culture, the Igbo culture, and we're living the American culture. And one thing that I will advise strongly to younger generation about sending children to Nigeria to educate or for vacation, to experience the environment where their parents came from, is never ever to introduce sending children home to Nigeria for education for any purpose as punishment. The mistake a lot of people do make here in the United States is telling the children, if you do so and so, or if you get into trouble, I will send you to Nigeria. And that impacts punishment, the feeling of punishment to the children. That's not how I did it. I succeeded because I showed my children that going back home to Nigeria is like moving from here to Baltimore, or if you're living in Washington, you're going to maybe Houston, Texas, just relocating to another state to live for a brief period. And that is how the children embraced going home to Nigeria. And I went back and forth, both myself and my husband went back and forth with them. And so my children did not ever see going home to Nigeria to live or go to school in Nigeria as punishment, because it was not introduced to them like that. So I will encourage everyone, you can always send the children home to live, to educate. Each of my children lived in Nigeria for a minimum of 5 to 6 years with no concerns. They succeeded. Absolutely, yes. So we were taught about the Biafran War when we did history in Nigeria, and I think it's just not doing the children justice by not giving them the history of the Biafran War. We need to know our past in order for us to plan for the future. And giving children Biafran history in school is not wrong. Absolutely, it is something that must and need to be done because every one of us need that knowledge. And if you don't know your past, you will not do justice to your future. So it is very important and critical that the history of Biafra be taught in all education level, in especially in beginning elementary school in Nigeria. Sometimes what I see, and when I see the way they show Biafra on the television, it's heartbroken because we are human. The Biafrans, the Igbos of Nigeria, we are the ones called Biafrans. We're humans and it is our life. When someone desires freedom, when someone desires to be independent, there is no reason to kill the individual or punish them just for the fact that they're desiring to be independent or have freedom from one leadership or one government. I mean, I believe that the best way to go about it is to sit down on a round table, have a discussion as to tell me why you want to do this or what is prompting you to desire to secede from Nigeria. And I mean, if they chose to do that and if they are capable of surviving, which they have shown in the past and in the present, that the Igbo people, they can succeed, they can achieve. After going through the Biafran War in 1970, when the war ended, the Igbo people were given only £20 to begin life all over again. You can imagine giving someone, currently, if I say giving someone 2,000 naira to begin life all over again, and they made it. If you go to Nigeria today and you go to all of the Igbo states, you will see unbelievable achievement of Igbo people. And therefore, the way they are portrayed on the television as if they're creating conflict or they're asking for the impossible. They're not asking for the impossible. I mean, they need to be listened to. Ask why. If they are not satisfied with the current leadership, then discuss it and find a way to come to a table where everybody will understand each other and give them what they're asking for. The Igbo people are found all over the world. And there's a saying that if you go to any part of the world and you did not see an Igbo person, turn around and leave because that place is not habitable. Because we can survive anything, anywhere, in any society. And so, my advice to the current generation of Igbo people all over is to come together upon, I mean, the best for us right now is strong unity. We cannot continue to survive when we are marginalized, and above all, and on top of that, we are bringing among ourselves break and not being one. We have to be one. We cannot fragment ourselves as Igbos. We are one and we must move and speak one voice.